Hello, welcome to Three Crows Runes. My name is Jen. Let's do some rune readings. Well, it is the Vernal Equinox here. It's the autumnal equinox in the Southern Hemisphere. Where I am is in the Northern Hemisphere, and it is the Vernal Equinox. And I thought what would be fun to do today is we can do a reading for the season. So for the season, because I'm in the Northern Hemisphere, and because birch trees are one of the first trees that leaves, you know what I mean, I'm using the birch set. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start by throwing down a few runes. First of all, to show where we're at now. Second of all, to show what led up to that. Third, to show what isn't helping, obviously, because it went down below. What is helping and what is our next step. So this is going to be a general reading for this season. It's spring if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, autumn if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, and this is just going to hopefully give us a nice little overview of what the season is going to be like for us. So it looks like we're starting with Algiz reversed. Algiz is the rune of protection and support. It's the elk. The elk is another way to say moose, basically. If you're in North America, it's the moose. It has to do with protection and support. It is reversed, and so this says to me a couple things. First of all, there's a general feeling that we're not as supported as we would like to be and not as protected as we'd like to be. And basically, I guess not as safe would be a way to read this. At the same time, this would also be a question of standing on our own, being more independent, wanting more independence. So all of that sort of thing is wrapped up in the main central issue of this reading. What led up to this? We have Manaz. Manaz and it's upright. Manaz is the rune of humanity. It has to do with humanity and our place in it. So just based on what current events have been, it's almost like we really, really, really want to be back among other people and facing each other in joy. Maybe some of us got a taste of that, and then another wave of the virus happened. So we're back in a situation where we are feeling alone. We are feeling maybe not as supported or protected as we would like to. What helps, interestingly, is... I'm sorry, I'm just fiddling with the runes because it's fun to do that. And they're so little and cute. We have Hagalaz. Hagalaz is the hailstorm rune. It has to do with chaos, natural forces. And I think that's actually what this is basically saying, is what's going to help is this is a natural event. It's part of nature. Thinking of it in that way might help us feel a little more like we're not so unsupported and alone. However, it is still worrisome. Everything's sort of up in the air. It's very chaotic. What really helps, what helps is we have Pertho. Pertho is the rune of surprises. It's the lot box, and it's basically surprises, but that were already there. Sort of low-key revelations, with Dagas being the high-key revelations. I'm going to read this as what helps is acknowledging the fact that right now things are in chaos. We don't have a precedent for this. We have never lived through this before in the world. And I mean, we've lived through things like it, but we've never lived through this before. And what helps is there are positive surprises happening, at least. And so hopefully that will be really, really good. I'm going to talk about what isn't helping, and then I'm probably going to go back and lay down a couple more runes on this line since it is pretty central. Well, it's the main central issue. So what isn't going to help is we really want to get on with things. This is right, though. It's the rune of journeys, journeying, moving forward. And it's basically, it's a very positive rune, but it's on the lower line. So it's just like we really want to get on with things. We want to get on with all of this. And a lot of us had plans. This is Gabo. It's the rune of the gift. Also an exchange. Also agreements, decisions. We maybe had plans and we really want to get on with them, and this is really dragging us down. Try not to worry about that, accept the fact that we are in a chaotic situation. This is like a natural force, like a storm blowing through. You can't argue with that. You just have to, weather it. And look for the good surprises, look for the good signs. Like waiting for spring, and here we are in spring already. So I said I was going to lay down an upper and lower on that line. I'm going to do that anyway, even though I think I've pretty much clarified it. Yes, the ice will melt. What do we have down here? Yeah. It feels like, basically, we want to get on with things. We had plans, and it feels like we're being forced to just basically lay down our sword and our plans and not do what we want to do, and we're feeling like we can't get to what we want to get to. And a lot of this has to do with, we have feelings where we're sort of feeling responsible, where we want to do these things, and we feel like we're responsible for these things, and we can't. So, again, it's like we're in a big storm. Look for signs, and be still. Be still, sorry, Isa, this is the ice rune, and this is Tiva's Tears rune, Tears the warrior god. It has to do with duty and responsibility as well as picking up and going, and it's reversed here, so that's why we wanted to get on with things. Basically, be still. Right now, this is not the time to be running around and doing things. We're weathering a storm. We are basically weathering a storm. So, weather that storm, watch for signs, and be still. So our next step on the path line, interestingly, is Othala reversed. Othala is the homeland rune. It is reversed. It is on the path line. I'm going to read that. This is a couple things. First of all, we're going to feel a little bit unseated as far as what we're going to consider, what we consider home, what we're used to, our comfort zone, is not going to be the same once we move forward. Oops, that one fell out. That's definitely the next one. At the same time, our next step is we're going to be letting go of a lot of things that did not serve us. So what helps here is we're embracing the challenge. This is Thurizaz. It's the rune of the thorn, the giant challenge gateway. It's reversed and it's on the upper line. So it is going to be a huge challenge moving forward from this point. But if we embrace the challenge the same way we embrace the fact that, yes, we are in the middle of a storm, it will be less difficult. And what helps us embrace this challenge is we're already seeing the fruit of our labors and the fact that this is a timed thing. It's not going to be forever. No matter how much it's going to feel like it's going to be forever, it's not. There's a season for it, just like the season we're reading for. So it's kind of like, no, you know what? It's going to be a new world, but we're going to embrace that challenge and get into it. And it is timed. Nothing is permanent. What won't help us is we're worried about our happiness and we're worried about our strength and health. This is Vunyo, it's the rune of joy, and this is Uruz, it's the rune of strength and health and vitality. So we're still worried about, the whole health thing, the whole, will I be happy? Will I be healthy? It is a challenge, and we are up for it. If we embrace it, we're up for it. And it is a timed thing, and we're already seeing the benefits of doing what we're doing here, which is, weathering the storm, watching for signs, and being still. So our next step here, we have Laguz. It's the rune of, it's the lake. So it's the rune of all the watery associated things like intuition, emotion, and heart. It is... I would read this as we move forward, after we let go of a lot of the things that we no longer need and that no longer serves us, it definitely would be good for us to move forward in a more heart-led manner. And for that, what helps with that is we have Ingvaz. Ingvaz is it's phrase rune, so it's the fertility god rune. And this has to do with active creation. So we're really going to be shaping the new world once we get past this challenge of, okay, moving forward. What doesn't help here is really narrowing our focus, narrowing our options. We have Kaunaz, which is the rune of fire, and it's reversed. So it really is sort of like limiting our focus. We want to be really focusing on creating our new world, shaping our new world, being very heart-led about it, and narrowing our focus on this is probably not a good idea. We don't want to be, excluding anybody. We don't want to be thinking, oh yeah, well that'll work for me and to heck with everybody else. We definitely want to be making sure, so Sovilo, the sun. In this case, it's more like feeling the energy is limited, and this is a new thing we're stepping out into. We have Ivaz, which is the rune of the yew tree, which has to do with patience and slow growth. We're patiently going to be shaping our new world and being heart-led into it. And closing our eyes to the big picture and trying to conserve energy that is there for everybody is not the way to go. Just be patient. Make sure that nobody gets left behind. Build the new world. Ooh, and we're in a new world. There's a blank rune. Again, this is a recent addition. I think probably Blum invented it, but it's useful, I find, in readings because it has to do with new ground, at the unwritten page, and that's where we're moving into. What do we have here? Ooh, okay. So what helps at this point is, where did I have the one that was the low-key surprises? There's the low-key surprises, not Loki, although we love Loki. What's going to happen at this point when we're in the new ground that we've moved towards into, here we are, new ground. What's going to help us there is it's going to be really visible right away that this is where the light is. So that's what's going to help. We're going to be stepping out of this. We've never been in this sort of situation before, but it is really, really good. We can see it like right away. What doesn't help is trying to enforce limitations to, I'm not saying let's not be careful. I'm actually going to lay down a couple more runes on this. That's my little song of laying down more runes on this. Okay. I still don't know. I'm going to lay that one there. It's a little bit off balance, but that's okay. I'm going to read that here as well. So what doesn't help in this new ground is trying to control the new ground, really. It's going to be new ground, and we have to learn what it actually is, let it reveal itself, and let our spirit carry us forward into it. This is Avaz. It's the rune of the horse. It has to do with movement and spirit. So this is basically the movement and spirit that's going to carry us into the new ground, lit by the light of the revelations of, yes, right away we can see that all of this is paying off, and it's really, really good, and there is light here. The people who want to restrict this, the people who want to try to hold it back from what it is becoming, and who are worried about what it is becoming, and who are worried about their worth, that they won't have worth in the new world, that's what's going to drag things down, because they're going to try to make this the old world, what we already let go of, and that's no good. I'm actually going to read this here as well. There's a deep confidence, a sense of inner worth, that leads to spirit as well as heart leading us through this, and this is what's going to help. We're seeing the revelations. So our final step on this reading of the season, we have Ansu's, and it's reversed. Now this is a couple of things. One, it's going to be a quieter world, which is cool. Two, we're going to be listening more. We're going to be listening to each other more. And that's definitely a good thing. We're going to be communicating, and there's going to be more inner communication, which is also important. But we're also going to be listening to each other more avidly, and that can only be for the best. So there we have it. It's our spring season reading, or autumn reading if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. Have a wonderful season. I hope you enjoyed the reading, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.